You ever feel like you have an ascension hangover? Have you had moments of peak experiences, moments when you're wide awake and you're open and your heart is open and you're flying and you remember who you are, and then suddenly something can happen so quickly and it feels like you've dropped from the penthouse to the shithouse in 1 second? I've talked about this many times, but today I would like to talk about a little realization that I've had around this for my own experience. You can decide if it resonates or not with you. So, yeah, again, I've talked about it many times. We go to the retreat, we go to the ashram, we have the peak experience, we experience plant medicine, we have a heart opening experience with the divine other. We have these opening experiences that seem like just so joyful, so loving. So we're with the right people, we're in the right moment. You got the perfect sunset, the weather's right, everything, the perfect storm arrives, and you have this incredible experience, peak experience, spiritual experience, heart opening experience, whatever it happens to be. Then what happens? Life happens. Life on earth, life in a body, life as we have come to see it as a human on earth. And I don't know about you, you can share, but I know I've had these experiences, and then suddenly something will just bring me right back down to earth, and something very quickly can just seem to just pull you so far. And I want to share because I had another experience like this, and it was so funny that it was on a couple of days ago. We were arriving from Costa Rica to Mexico, and in a very good place, and then met a few angels in disguise who really pushed my buttons. And then there was a video from exactly 1 year ago that popped up on my feed that I'd be done. It was like literally welcome those who press your buttons. So the fractalization. Um, but as I went through that experience, I realized again, but maybe just on a deeper level, is that whenever we expand our awareness, we expand our consciousness, all we're doing is the perfected whole that we are is already here, but we are just cramming in it into a little box or a little meat suit called the body. We're just taking our perception of the absolute perfection of all that is and just putting it into a little myopic view called Martin. And we're never away from heaven. Is now here. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The queendom of heaven is you. We're just condensing our experience of perception to have an experience as a little separate me, as a body, as a individualization of this complete whole. But at certain times, these experiences that we have open us from the body, from the individuation, and sometimes it can just melt into the complete oneness. And again, we say sometimes, I have to put that in air quotes. There is no time, and it's not happening. It's just a perception that we appear to be experiencing. But from the human perspective, we have these openings, we have these awakenings, we have these experiences where the truth of who we are peeks through for a moment. And so what happens in this dual-based reality is it's a reflection. Everything is a big reflection. Everything that you see is a reflection of your, in this reality, your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas about yourself, your past actions, all of these things. It's just a reflection. It's just an echo chamber, showing you back the stuff you like, showing you back the stuff that you don't like, and then your neutral stuff in between. But what happens when we expand is when we expand our perception, we're not getting away from what we call dark or negative or challenging before. We're expanding into more potential. And if we imagine it like a sphere, although no shape or anything that we can imagine can really tell what it is, but we can do this as a little mind experiment. If you imagine we're in a small little ball, like a little marble, and we expand to a football or we expand to a beach ball. When it expands spherically, it expands the potential of all experience. But also what happens paradoxically is that when we expand in awareness, where you would think the reflective experiences will come quicker when you're in a smaller space, but paradoxically what happens when we expand our awareness, we're expanding out of limitation So our reflections actually come quicker. So this is where this analogy falls down. It's a paradox. When we expand our awareness, we're available to more of what is potential, what is here, dark, light, up, down, what I like, what I don't like, what pisses me off, what pleasures me. And because we're in an expanded state, it means, the contracted state is a slowed down state. The expanded state, if you think about the air expands in a balloon, let's say, the particles can move quicker. So when we expand, so we come from an expanded state, we have a peak experience, we were in the retreat, we've had this divine connection with a divine other, and where our heart is open, we are open to reflections much quicker. So whenever we have these like heart-opening experiences, peak experiences, retreat, whatever it is, and then we go back into the quote real world, our heart is more open, we are more expanded, and the reflections can come quicker. So when we have these like crash back down to earth, and what I'm calling Ascension Hangover, we're ascending, expanding our awareness into a greater state, and then when we come back into a supposedly contracted state, something is able to be reflected to us much quicker because we're at a higher frequency. If you imagine the waves, the frequency is higher. Frequency is there's more movement. It happens quicker. So when we're in contracted state, let's say if you imagine like a rock looks like it's not moving. If you went inside there is movement, but from the outside, from this perspective, it looks like it's just still and steady. It's not moving. But we expand and expand, like we were talking about expanding the balloon. We're expanding our sphere of awareness, our sphere of potential, up, down, in, out, every direction. We're available to perceive more of what is, and that part that can pull you down can come quicker. So in an expanded state, we can bring more joy, more peace, more fun, and we can bring more of the reflection of the challenging pieces, of the darkness, of the anger, of the fear, of the conflict, and it will come quicker. So if we can begin to see that as we expand our potential of dark and light, up and down, and out, here, about, shake it all out. We can do all of it. We're expanding to be able to perceive more of what's already here, and it will come quicker to us. Whenever it comes in a quote negative way, we can begin to see it. And I caught this quite early, but it did have to involve police arriving before I caught it. That's a whole nother story I'm gonna talk about. There were no crimes and there was no arrests and there was no challenge, but police did appear on the scene in this space. So quite a funny story I'll tell some other time. But what I was saying, like I was coming in this just beautiful expanded space, and then something triggered a lower response for me, and it actually didn't do it right away, but it did eventually. And then I contracted into that space instead of being expanded in that space and say, oh, look, there's that potential to draw me back down into my marble consciousness. Or it's a potential for me to say, oh, look, I noticed that. Oh, I noticed something appearing there. Oh, I noticed something wants to respond here. Can I stay in that space and know that this is coming to me quickly because I'm in a higher or more expanded, I don't like the word higher, more expanded state of being? That's why this quote lower thing is coming to me to show me my expanded state and giving me an opportunity to dive back inside my marble, or do I stay in the expanded state and just notice that and not choose to go there, not choose to respond from there, and not match that vibration? Because the second that I match that vibration, you go into the marble and the police show up. Oh my God. So yeah, it became clear again. It was very quickly clear that as you expand, all potential becomes more available, not just the beautiful things, all of the things, every potential. You're more available to what you weren't available to before, and its reflection can come quicker to you. So if you have found you're with people that you love, you're doing things that you're with your soul family, your heart is open, and then you go to the shops and then you just go back into your cage. You're feeling your heart is open, everything is beautiful, and then when you go into your work on a Monday, you have to change to protect yourself. The invitation here in the mastery, and by far I have not mastered it, I can say there's times where I've done it, and most times I still haven't, is to be able to be in the field where the dark potential appears and you are able to say expanded, not by changing it, not by saying, oh, this is lower than me, or this is bad and I'm like this expanded guru state. No, it's like my awareness is expanded and I'm able to observe this. I'm able to feel the feeling coming in. I'm able to feel the little me wanting to respond in a certain way, to collapse into that and stay as you are. Stay as the witness, stay as the presence. If words are needed, words will need it, but they'll come from a place of expanded awareness, not from judgment, not from higher, lower, not from this. So yeah, the invitation is to see, maybe you've had this experience, maybe you resonate, maybe you don't, but yes, this ascension hangover has been kind of a continuous one for me. The example that I gave a lot was when I would like be doing channelings and I was, facilitating the mystery school, and a lot of the work that I was doing online, I would do it in a little room, and I would just be in this like literally soul-gasmic expanded state in this tiny room, and I'd be just connected with the whole universe, and I'd walk out that little door and my wife would say one very innocent, simple thing to me, and suddenly I'm the little marble. I'm the reactive 13-year-old boy in the marble. And there's certain traumas, there's certain protection mechanisms that have been set up within the body mind that feels that it can only protect itself by closing its heart, which is not true. An open heart is invulnerable. But the feeling and the knowing of the human capacity for emotion and range of feelings is very dangerous to the little ego me that sees its identity as being wanted, as being needed, as being valued, as being cherished. It has its limited idea. But when the heart is open to feel everything. It's open to feel the depths of depression, but not going there. It is open to feel the heights of merging with God, but not identifying as an individual merging with God. And that's what's the challenge for the little human, is when the heart opens, it opens to everything. If we are able, and we are, and you will have done it at times, it's not like it's something new, it's just something that we're not practicing. And if we have the tendency to close, which this one does, if you've had trauma, if you've got your spiritual life and your human life, you've got, you're still in this dual world, then the tendency, and the body has like automatic, through the nervous system, automatic responses. Like you don't feel like you're choosing it. You are choosing, but it happens so quick you think it's not. You think it's happening to you. So it's like in that moment when I'm in this beautiful expanded space, and it was just it was like little chips, he's chipping away, and then there's one moment, boom, I matched, and then I contracted, and then I reacted more so, I would say. But it is a choice. It's just happening so quickly that we think it's happening to us, but it's happening through us and as us, and our body is responding to past trauma, our mind is responding to, I feel like I'm being attacked in some way. But we have the ability, the fact that we can tell this story about an event that was traumatic, and I open my heart or I close my heart, the fact that you can tell a story about something means there is something witnessing that story. There is something that is aware of you opening your heart, closing your heart, me opening my heart, closing my heart. There's something that is aware of the moments before where you've still stayed in your ecstatic, expanded state, and are not reacting, are just being neutral. And there's still something watching on the moment when the iceberg cracks or something. There's a moment where you go from that expanded state of neutrality and not reacting to the moment of reaction. When you can tell the story of that, there's something that is watching that. The fact that we can narrate our lives tells us there's something watching our lives that is not what is playing out on the screen of life. There is something that can tell the story of being depressed. There's something that can tell the story of being ecstatic. There's something that is aware of all of that which is playing out in our life, that is not bound by it, that is not identified with it, because it can tell a story. And this is not about I've never done any, I know the word they use in modern either psychology or one of those. It's not about detaching yourself from the identity artificially in a way to bypass your human experiences. It's about expanding your awareness to include the little me and the experience that knows I can tell a story about my life. So if I can tell a story about my life, high, low, in between, there's something watching and knowing my life that is not the character, that is not the story, that is not the rising, fall of emotions. So this Ascension Hangover, maybe you can relate. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you've had this experience where you get these people, places, events, peak events, that you open your heart, you're in an expanded state, and then suddenly life happens. Suddenly you sober up from spirituality, and tax is due, a relationship is challenged, a family member triggers you something, someone on the street does something that puts you back in your shell, so to speak. I wonder, could you, or do you resonate? Do you feel like there's a possibility that you could actually stay in a state of expanded awareness and let that happen? It takes work, and I'm continuously on this work. And there's a lot of work with the nervous system. Again, the nervous system in the body does seem to act autonomously, does seem to act on its own. But it is not true. It happens so quickly. We think it's happening and so on. We can choose to take command. I was going to say control, and I love the word command. We can take command of our nervous system. We can take command of our mind. We can take command of our body, not control them. They're responding from past trauma. They're responding from protection, responding from fear, whatever it is, in a way that it was a protection system, especially if you've had childhood trauma, that really was a protection system. But those patterns can continue into later life, where a word said by someone could be related in the nervous system, could be related in the body, could be related in the mind as a literal physical attack. Do you ever feel like something appears in your life and your body and your mind and your whole system reacts in a way that's so far, the response and the action that was taken is so far apart. Anyone that's experienced trauma will know that. But again, we can take command of that. There are times where it's happened when there's a perfect storm, it's going to just be an explosion volcano. But there's times when it has happened and it hasn't been this reaction. It hasn't been this attack or fight, flight, freeze. We can take command of our nervous system. We can take command of our body. We can take command of our mind. It is not always easy, but it is possible. And if you can do it once, you can do it every time. And it's a process. So this is why I wanted to share about this Ascension Hangover today and my experience in the Mexican airport and someplace showing up. Again, there were no crimes. There was no one hurt. There was nothing happened, but there was an appearance, a show of things happening that I very clearly saw was a response to my reaction to being in an expanded state and being, again, the story would be told, pulled into this contracted state, which is not true. What I chose to go into a contracted state because of an external event. So maybe you can relate. I'd love to hear in the comments if you experience this. Maybe there's people that don't experience this, and if that's for you, this video is not for you. And congratulations. I'm sure you've got some other challenges, or maybe not, and maybe not. If not, I would be asking why are you hearing these words and why are you watching? But I'd love to hear from you. What do you feel about this? Have you experienced this? Have you experienced yourself being able to stay expanded even when a part of you that maybe would have reacted before hasn't? Have you seen it? Again, asking, have you done it before? Do you see yourself in the part that, come from an expanded state and get into the wrong place and the wrong word and the, whatever it is, and you revert and you contract? And again, maybe you would have thought it's that person did that, so I closed my heart. Or this happened, it's because the world is this way, or that politician said this, or that's happening in another country, and so I have to protect myself and close. But is that really true? How often are we we're not talking about literal physical danger. The amount of people, there are people that are in literal physical danger for a lot of their life, actual literal physical danger. There are people on the word, but that in any one time, if you take the whole of the planet, is the minority. And it's not taken away from the minority or in any way diminishing or demeaning. There are people that are fighting for their lives literally every day right now in this, crazy world. There are. But if you took the whole population and even the people, that every minute of every day that are in literal physical danger, it's a very, very small. But if you took the amount of people, and I can tell you, growing up in Northern Ireland, and relatively peaceful in comparison to what happened before, especially in my parents' time. When you're in an environment that's traumatic, or you're in a violent environment, that puts you in a constant, I'm not saying you, it can put people who are susceptible and sensitive to it, it can put you in a constant state of your nervous system looking for threats. My wife still laughs at me sometimes. Like, I have no fear of death. I have no fear of jumping out of planes and doing all sorts of things. But everything's quiet and a loud noise comes. I know they say this, it's a natural fear that we're born with. But my overreaction to loud bangs is like insane. She laughs a lot at me. She's so she's so calm. But our nervous, so it takes work. It takes work to take command of our nervous system, and I've been doing work on that for the last, 14 years, and it still takes work. But whenever that nervous system is reacting to a perceived danger that doesn't correspond to the actual reality, then we're in this constant state of fight, flight, freeze. We're in a constant state of reacting instead of, and we're reacting to something that's happening. We're reacting to something that the body and the mind and the nervous system is perceiving as a threat that's actually could be just someone having a bad day, and they've said something and it reminds you of something as a child, and it reminds the cells of the body of something that's happened before. And so if we are not actively taking command of our nervous system, taking command of our mind, our thoughts, and taking command of our body by working with it and communicating with it, and using the tools that we've all been given, that we all know, we don't need to talk anymore about them. Everyone's been given the tools. But if we're not using those tools, we'll feel a victim to our body's reactions, our mind's reactions, our nervous system's reactions to life. And very quickly, again, it happens, seemed to be automatically, but it's happened so quickly that it seems like it's just instantaneous. But it's a choice. There's a moment. There's a moment where we can choose peace or we can choose reaction. There's a moment that we can choose love or we can choose judgment. There is a moment. No matter how quick it seems, there is a moment. And many times I fall down, and many times a day, my son is my greatest reflection at that. I can be sharing things with him, and he just has the perfect way he's my perfect mirror trigger. And like, I can be sharing something and instantly I can forget what I'm sharing, and I can be reacting. So, but it is important to use the tools that we've all been given. And if you're watching this, I know you've been given tools. You know the tools. We don't need to like, there's so many tools out there now. There's so many ways in which we can do, but if we don't use them, we will become still a victim to our reactions, a victim to the mind's false idea of what is appearing in the world. And that can go on both sides. It doesn't mean it's just in the trauma. We can overreact to the positive. Our mind and our body can overemphasize the light, can like be, again, command of our experience. One of the teachers is just speaking to me now. Let's see if it comes. This is not a direct quote, but it's to be stable in your highs and stable in your lows, not to over aggrandize the light and not to curse the darkness. It's to be in that middle way, to be in the space where you cannot be swayed. But you can play. You can be a conduit for the light that watches this continuous vibrational frequency, rising and falling, coming and going, bouncing off, pinging here, there, dark, light, high, low, happy, sad. But you are in that middle way. This is the space that you came to play. And this is the role that you came to play, is to be there. But it is too attractive to go into the victim story, if it's too attractive to go into the hero story, you will always be pulled. You will always be swayed. And here, as my two little and large teachers appear, I'm going to say goodbye. We are on our way back to Europe today, and this has been the Ascension Hangover. And as you want to say, I was just talking about you. Okay, you want to come say hello? You've got clothes on. You're not going to be able to see anyone. What do you want to say? Nothing. Okay, so this has been the Ascension Hangover.
What's that are you doing?
I'm talking about what happened at the airport the other day. When Popeye was like floating on air one moment and then not so floating on air the next moment.
What do you mean, spreading love?
Spreading love, yes, spreading love.
That time?
Yes.
When you were on the bed?
Oh no, that was this morning. I was spreading love, but when I wasn't always spreading love, when I was spreading love until I got to the airport, and then
you were on the airport. It was before yesterday.
Yes. And I was feeling very good, and then we could tell. And then the guys were trying to force us to get a taxi, and kept talking, and really forcefully, like kept coming at us, and then eventually, Popeye's warrior came out.
Well, you're feeling like you wanted to fight with the guy. That's what you said to me.
Well, some part of me did. I didn't, but some part of me did. Verbally, I did. Verbally, the way I spoke to him was not loving. It was strong, but it wasn't loving. Okay, this is it. Thank you so much. This has been Ascension Hangover. This has been Angelo. And Lisa's somewhere over there. She's hiding. That's okay. We'll be back. We will be back. You want to say hello?
Hello, bye.
Hello, goodbye. See? She's the most balanced one of the whole tribe, yes, by far. So just the last thing I would like to share.
Are you doing a video?
Yes, this is a live video. Are we going to see some comments? Let's see. Oh, there's been loads of comments. Sorry, wasn't able to see. This thing doesn't do it. ASR Gaming. Hello, Elysium. To pick up that piece and make it new, fully. Elasa, yes. Oh my God. Well, let's put it on here. To pick up that piece and make it new and fully processed. That which is happening here is slowed down, realm for repair. Definitely. Wow. Yes, that's exactly it. I love that. Robin, love you. Angelo. Robin says Angelo is my hero. Robin saying hi. Have a great trip. So yes, that has been a little share of Ascension Hangover. And this is Angelo pulling faces. So we're coming back. Yes, we will be back in Europe, and we've got some fun news of what we're going to be doing. What is happening? Big shifts, big changes. But we are leaving this beautiful sacred. We're in Mexico at the moment. We're leaving this beautiful sacred land. It's been a beautiful time in North and Central America. And Angela looks a little bit different since you got here. I don't know what's happened. Something you changed. So yeah, I think that's everything. Anything you want to share? Anything you'd like to share? Last night we had those two were off flying in the dreams, and I was actually
flying on dreams.
You were flying your dreams. I was flying about everywhere without sleeping. I was doing it consciously.
But do you know? Remember in Salema, when I was no one playing on my own, I just run as fast as I can, and I do this, and I was flying. Not by dreaming. I took my body for actually.
Okay, you're flying with your actual body.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
I did it in Salema. That was in Portugal.
Wow, that's cool, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna fly the traditional way today. Angela, maybe your jaws are going to be wings if you keep going like that. We're going to fly home on Angelo's jaws. But yes, we have some jazz, your jazz in Ireland. We have some fun projects, and anyone, please, if you would like, I'm going to send out today, if you would like to help us, how would they say, fine tune our vision, please message me. I'm going to send across our vision, and yes. Oh my God! I wonder. This will be the the thumbnail that the video picks is bound to be this face. I hope it's this face because that's the tone of this video. So this has been the Ascension Hangover, and so give us the Ascension face. Give us the Ascension face, and then the
What's Ascension?
is like when you expand into love and you remember who you are and you open up and you just give us the Ascension face. Okay, now give us the.
No, Ascension face.
Just keep with the Ascension face. Okay.
The angry face?
Oh, you can do the angry face if you want.
Okay.
Okay. We'll be back. Send us a message if you'd like to help us refine, communicate our vision. Send a message either on Facebook or comment on one of these videos. This is on YouTube and Facebook. And we'll be back in Europe. Face jaw. Okay, thank you all so much. Do you want to finish this video with me now? Until next time, from my heart to yours, the divine in me says love and honor the divine in you. Namaste. We are